You are working harder than ever for less. You know the feeling, the exhaustion that is not physical but a slow drain on the spirit. You meticulously craft your approach. You invest time, emotional energy, a piece of your attention, a piece of your life into the process of connection. You study the rules, you follow the advice, you demonstrate competence, stability, and genuine interest. You put in the effort. And you are met with silence, with ghosting, with a distracted half-presence across the table, with the profound sense that you are not being evaluated as a human being, but being compared against an infinite scrolling catalog of vague potential. Your effort, your intention, your vulnerability, it lands on barren soil. It yields no return. It is met with a quiet digital void or a polite hollow thanks. And the unspoken question begins to poison your motivation. Why bother? It is getting worse because the system is designed to make it worse. The market is saturated, attention is fragmented, and the very architecture of modern connection incentivizes disposability. The endless option, the low-cost alternative waiting in your pocket, has corrupted the fundamental equation. When you can swipe away a person as easily as you dismiss a bad advertisement, the value of any single human engagement plummets. Your effort is no longer an investment, it becomes a cost. And in a system built on infinite choice and zero friction, costs are to be minimized. So let us strip away the sentiment. Let us peel back the layer of modern romance and polite fiction. In this examination, we will dissect the brutal mechanics underneath. We will look at the biological imperatives that drive us and the modern condition that perverts them. We will see why the old rules of effort and reward have been inverted, leaving you striving in a vacuum. To understand the collapse, you must first understand the foundation. We did not evolve for this. Your nervous system, your hormonal responses, your deepest motivations, they were forged in a world of scarcity and severe consequence. For our ancestors, effort was not merely rewarded, effort was survival. For a man, demonstrating the capacity for effort, hunting, building, protecting, contributing to the tribe, was the primary signal of his genetic and utilitarian value. It was his resume. There was no abstraction. The fruit of his labor was directly tied to the survival of the woman and her offspring. His consistency, his reliability, his ability to delay gratification and channel effort toward a future goal, these were the traits that selected him out of the Darwinian darkness. For a woman, evaluating a man's effort was a matter of life and death. Her biological imperative, the immense investments of pregnancy, nursing, and rearing, forced a brutal calculation. Is this man capable of sustained effort? Does he have the resources, the skill, and the will to provision and protect? Her hypergamous instinct, the drive to secure the best possible genetic and resource-based alliance for her children, was a quality control mechanism of the highest order. It was not capricious, it was critically necessary. Effort was the measurable output of a man's character and capability. Romance is a recent decoration on this ancient, stark architecture. Beneath it lies the raw substrate of reproductive strategy. The man is driven to prove his worth through competent action in the world. The woman is driven to discern that worth, to separate the viable from the untenable. This is the primal loop, demonstration and evaluation. Effort is the currency. It is the signal that says, I can navigate reality effectively. I can impose my will on chaos and bring back value. And for millennia, that currency had a stable exchange rate. But this system requires constraints. It requires limited choice, tangible consequence, and a shared social reality where a person's reputation, their history of effort and reliability, precedes them. It operates in a world where a mate market is a village, not a global digital super network. Your biology is still running that ancient software. It expects that your effort will be met with serious evaluation. It expects that demonstrated value will be met with proportional interest. It is waiting for a feedback loop that no longer exists. The modern world has severed the nerve connecting action to outcome, and we are left with limbs moving frantically, uselessly, because the old biological commands are still firing into the void. So we arrive at the dislocation. The biological imperative, honed for a world of scarcity, now operates in a landscape of pathological abundance. This is the modern trap. The very instincts that once guided us towards survival now propel us into a psychological wasteland. Consider the environment. The app is not a village square. It is a soulless bazaar of infinite comparison. It activates with brutal efficiency the woman's hypergamous instinct, but it perverts it. Instead of evaluating a handful of known men within a tangible social hierarchy, the instinct is now bombarded with thousands of phantom potentials. The screen presents not reality, but a curated gallery of highlights, a parade of possibilities unmoored from consequence. The man is no longer a full human being with a history and a reputation for effort. He is a two-dimensional profile to be consumed and discarded in less than a second. His effort in crafting that profile is meaningless because it is not the effort that matters, it is the static image. The system reduces the sacred, terrifying process of mate selection to the cognitive level of choosing a wallpaper. For the man, the trap is one of futility. He is biologically driven to demonstrate effort and capability. But how do you demonstrate the ability to build, to protect, to provision through a digital interface? You cannot. The currency has been debased. The only effort the system recognizes is the effort of self-branding, of manufacturing an attractive illusion. This forces him into a shadow game of personal marketing, which is a corruption of his natural function. It is empty, performative, and deeply unsatisfying. His ancient psychology screams for a challenge he can overcome with genuine competence, but the modern world offers him only the challenge of garnering attention, which is a fickle and demoralizing master. This is where dark psychology becomes the operating system. The platform's design is not neutral. It thrives on engagement, not on successful pairing. It requires you to stay in the marketplace. Therefore, it must breed dissatisfaction. It must fuel the grass is greener pathology. It must ensure the options never feel final. It manipulates the woman's hypergamy into a state of permanent, restless searching. It manipulates the man's drive to prove his worth into a perpetual, gamified striving. Both are kept in a low-grade anxiety, a nagging sense that something better, something easier is one more swipe away. This anxiety systematically destroys the patience and depth required to evaluate real effort. Why invest time in understanding one person's journey when 10 new profiles have just appeared? The result is a collective descent into the shallow. The profound biological dance of demonstration and evaluation has been replaced by the quick, cheap hit of validation and option. Real effort, the kind that builds character and trust over time, becomes an irrational act. It is an overinvestment in a market that trades only in superficial derivatives. So here is the dark truth, the stone you must swallow. In the modern dating arena, traditional effort is no longer rewarded because the system is not designed to measure it. It is designed to bypass it. You are playing a high-stakes biological game on a digital casino floor where the rules are wired against depth, and the house always wins by keeping you playing. Your sincere effort is not seen as a sign of strength. In this distorted environment, it is often misinterpreted as neediness, as a lack of options, as low value. The market of abundance inverts the logic of scarcity. This is a brutal realization. It can lead to cynicism, to resentment, to a retreat into bitterness. But there is another path, the Stoic path. The Stoic does not rage against the nature of the game. He first sees it clearly, in all its brutal mechanics, and then he makes a conscious choice. He decouples his effort from the external reward. This is the red pill. You do not put in effort to win her or to beat the system. You put in effort because effort is what makes you a man. You build your skills, your resources, your character, your philosophy, not as a performance for the marketplace, but as a duty to your own potential. You become capable not to attract, but because it is your nature to be capable. You engage with the world, you master your craft, you build your personal sovereignty, and you do so with the understanding that this is your purpose. The reward is in the action itself, in the integrity it forges within you. Let the marketplace be frivolous. You must become substantial. Stop asking, is this working? Start asking, am I becoming someone of substance? Direct your effort inward and upward toward a hierarchy of personal value that you control. Become a man of such undeniable quality that the noise of the market becomes irrelevant. When you operate from that place of internal integrity, you will no longer seek a reward from the chaotic sea of modern dating. You will emit a signal of a different frequency. And while the distracted many will scroll past, the very few, the ones capable of seeing past the illusion, will recognize it. They will recognize the anomaly. The garden is overgrown with weeds and thorns. You cannot change that, but you can still choose to cultivate your own plot with discipline and await the season for a different kind of harvest.